Under the bright lights of enemy territory, tension filled the air as Yoshinobu Yamamoto prepared to make his move. The stadium, packed with roaring fans wearing the rival team's colors, buzzed with energy, but it wasn't just excitement, it was anticipation mixed with a hint of unease. Everyone knew Yamamoto was special, but no one was prepared for what they were about to witness. From the moment he stepped onto the field, there was something different about his demeanor. His eyes were laser-focused, his body language calm yet commanding. Opposing fans shouted, waved banners, and tried to rattle him, but Yamamoto didn't flinch. He simply adjusted his cap, gripped the ball tighter, and stared down the distance like it was nothing. It was the kind of confidence that only comes from knowing exactly what you're capable of. As he wound up, you could feel the entire crowd holding its breath. Then, with a single, explosive motion, he unleashed an absolute cannon of a throw, a soaring, screaming fastball that seemed to defy physics. The ball cut through the air like a missile, traveling further and faster than anyone in the stands could have imagined. It wasn't just a throw, it was a statement. The outfielders froze for a split second, stunned by how far the ball traveled. The sound echoed, a sharp, clean pop as it hit the glove, followed by a collective gasp from thousands of stunned spectators. Even the commentators were momentarily speechless before one finally blurted out, "Did you just see that?" It was one of those moments where time seemed to stop. Yamamoto's teammates jumped in disbelief, grinning from ear to ear. They'd seen his arm strength in practice, sure, but this was something entirely different. This was a showcase of power, precision, and raw athletic brilliance on the biggest stage possible, and it happened right in front of the opposing crowd. The opposing dugout was silent. Players who moments earlier had been laughing or chatting now stared across the diamond, mouths slightly open. Even their star players couldn't help but shake their heads. They knew they'd just witnessed something that would be replayed for weeks. Cameras zoomed in on their faces, disbelief, respect, and maybe a little bit of fear. Social media exploded within minutes. Fans began flooding timelines with clips of the throw, captioned with phrases like, "Unreal," "Yamamoto's a machine," and, "How is this even possible?" The clip quickly became one of the most shared sports moments of the night. Some fans even compared it to the legendary long throws of Ichiro, saying Yamamoto might have just outdone him. But what made it even more impressive wasn't just the distance, it was the accuracy. The ball didn't just travel far, it landed exactly where Yamamoto wanted it to, cutting off what should have been an easy scoring opportunity for the opposing team. That one throw turned a sure double into an instant out, killing the rally before it could even start. The crowd's reaction was something to behold. At first, a loud roar of disbelief, then, a stunned quiet. It wasn't booing, it wasn't cheering, it was just silence. That kind of silence that means people have seen something they can't process right away. Even in enemy territory, you could see fans clapping slowly, shaking their heads in appreciation. In the dugout, his teammates surrounded him. Some laughed, others patted him on the back, and a few just stared at him like they were witnessing a superhero moment. Yamamoto, ever the calm professional, didn't celebrate wildly. He simply smiled, nodded once, and sat down, like this was just another day at work. Reporters later said the distance of that throw was one of the longest ever recorded in live MLB gameplay that season. Analysts started breaking down the physics, the torque in his motion, the perfect timing of his release, and the sheer velocity generated by his compact frame. It was all science and skill fused into a single, unforgettable act. The moment spread beyond baseball. News outlets, talk shows, and even non-sports fans picked up the clip. It wasn't just about baseball anymore, it was about human ability, about how one athlete could do something that seemed superhuman. The clip started trending globally, with fans across the world praising Yamamoto for redefining what was possible on a baseball field. Opposing coaches later admitted they had underestimated his arm strength. "We knew he was good," one said, "but we didn't know he was that good." Even rival pitchers were giving him props on social media. One tweeted, "That's not an arm, that's a rocket launcher." In Japan, fans celebrated the moment as another chapter in Yamamoto's growing legacy. Sports networks ran highlight reels from his high school days to his NPB career, showing how his incredible work ethic and technique had evolved. It was clear that this throw wasn't luck, it was years of dedication and mastery culminating in one perfect moment. After the game, when reporters asked Yamamoto about it, he responded humbly. "I just wanted to help the team," he said. "I didn't think it was that special." But you could see in his eyes that he knew exactly how big it was. His modesty only made fans love him more. Meanwhile, analysts continued to dissect the play. The release angle, the spin rate, the power of his lower body, everything was broken down frame by frame. What stood out most was his control. It wasn't just strength, it was art. The combination of athleticism and precision is what separated Yamamoto from ordinary players. As fans left the stadium that night, you could hear conversations everywhere, not about who won or lost, but about that throw. Even rival fans admitted they had to respect it. "You can't even hate the guy," one said, laughing. That was insane. Back in the locker room, Yamamoto was the picture of composure. His teammates were still buzzing, showing each other slow-motion replays on their phones. Every few seconds, you'd hear another shout of disbelief. He threw how far? That night became one of those rare sports moments that transcend the game itself. Generations later, fans would still talk about the day Yamamoto made the impossible look effortless. It wasn't about stats or records, it was about witnessing greatness in real time. The next morning, headlines across Japan and the US were unanimous. Yamamoto's throw stuns the world, enemy fans silenced, the cannon from the east. Each article described it differently, but they all carried the same tone of awe. Even MLB veterans chimed in during interviews, saying they'd never seen a player blend accuracy and power so naturally. "He's redefining the position," one said. "If I were a young pitcher, I'd study everything he does." But perhaps the most remarkable part of it all was Yamamoto's composure. No bragging, no dramatics, just quiet excellence. That humility in the face of overwhelming praise made him even more endearing to fans. Weeks later, MLB's official social accounts posted a slow-motion breakdown of the throw, calling it, "the throw heard around the league." The post went viral again, reigniting conversations about his future, his potential MVP candidacy, and his growing reputation as a generational talent. The moment also reignited pride among Japanese fans, who saw Yamamoto not just as a player, but as a national representative, proving once again that Japan produces world-class baseball stars. The streets of Tokyo and Osaka buzzed with excitement, kids in parks tried to mimic his form, dreaming of one day making their own legendary throw. And in that enemy stadium, long after the final out was recorded, the replay continued to loop on the big screen for fans who couldn't stop watching. Every time it played, you could hear gasps and scattered applause. Some moments in sports are just too pure, too awe-inspiring to ignore, even when they come from the other side. That's what made it unforgettable. Yamamoto didn't just throw a ball, he threw down a challenge to physics, to expectation, to the very limits of what people thought was possible. And in doing so, he reminded the world why baseball, at its best, can still take your breath away.